I hope everyone's doing well, okay? And your families are safe. And so don't forget, it's imperative that you take all necessary precaution in maintaining good health, okay? Which includes physical, mental, spiritual, and psychological health. It's really important. All right, guys? And let me do this real quick. I'm reading the captions here. The caption here, talking about YouTube. That is funny about YouTube not wanting to connect tonight. I don't know why. Anyway, how's everyone? You guys doing great? All right. So as usual, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. I am an herbalist, health educator, and a researcher. I do not prescribe medicine, nor do I give medical advice. My work is for educational and informational purposes. Hey, Fanny, what's happening, my sister? Okay, let's jump into it, man. And but before we do that, I just want to make sure that you guys are doing well. All right. Uh, Health is, to me, as important as just being alive. Okay. I mean, being alive, I just want to be healthy, like all the time. Seriously, all the time. It's not possible, but it's doable, right? It's doable, but it's not possible to be healthy 100%. There are times you're going to have, little slopes. Slopes will happen, but, when you prepare yourself, you prepare your body, you prepare your cells, you prepare your immune system, your neurological system, all right? You get good sleep, great nutrition, you learn to manage stress, and you exercise. You're going to minimize the damage when it does come, because it will come. All right? But it's doable. So what we have to do is try really hard, give it our best shot, right? We got to try. What's going on, Aggie? All right. So we are discussing celiac disease. And sometimes it's called celiac sprue, SPRUE, or gluten sensitive enteropathy, right? And it is an immune reaction to eating gluten. When you eat gluten, okay, you get that reaction. Okay, so enteropathy is ongoing damage or irritation and swelling to the small intestine. That's what enteropathy is. Okay, it's ongoing damage or irritation and swelling to the small intestine. All right. Bonsoir, bonsoir, Miss Sorrento. So celiac disease, or CD, is the most common cause of enteropathy in Western countries. All right, but what is gluten? It is a protein. Gluten is a protein found in grains like wheat, barley, and rye. And gluten provides like 0 essential nutrients. No nutrients in gluten at all, except it just irritates your small intestine and mess you up real bad. So if you have celiac disease, eating gluten triggers an immune response in your small intestine. And over time, the immune reaction to eating gluten creates inflammation that damages the lining of the small intestine, which leads to medical complications. Okay? It also prevents absorption of some nutrients. All right? That complication prevents absorption of some nutrients, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So the classic symptom of celiac disease is diarrhea. Classic symptom, diarrhea. All right? So to eliminate the inflammation as well as the symptoms, right, a gluten-free eating regimen is necessary. But my goodness, it is so tough because everything has gluten. Almost every food that you could think of that you're going to purchase, packaged food that you are going to purchase, has gluten in it. Tons and tons and tons of foods. And not only foods, we'll look at a few non-food items with gluten that really surprised me. Really surprised me. I'm like, what? No, not this. That has gluten too? Wow. We'll look at a few of them, okay? All right. So, gluten is it's a genetic autoimmune disease, okay? And the immune system mistakenly recognizes gluten as foreign, as an invader. And because of that, the immune system attacks the gluten when it gets into the small intestine. All right? So, as the immune system wages war against the gluten, it damages villi in the small intestine. Take note. So, what is villi and what's the role? Or what role does it play, right, in your small intestine? So, without villi, it is really difficult for your body to absorb nutrients from food, right? So, if the immune system damages villi in the process of waging war against gluten in the small intestine, okay, it damages the villi, right, in that whole process. And villi, like I said, villi allows, okay, or makes it easier for your body to absorb nutrients from food. So as villi become eroded and flattened, okay, they have trouble absorbing nutrients. The result is diarrhea. See, that's where that diarrhea comes in. That classic symptom of diarrhea, that's where it comes in. Okay, right there. And there are other gastrointestinal symptoms as well, as a host of health problems related to malnutrition, including weight loss, anemia, right, low iron, infertility, nerve problems, and osteoporosis. And osteoporosis is more likely to occur in people who have low calcium intake. Osteoporosis is more likely to occur in people who have low calcium intake. Because you need enough calcium, you need adequate amounts of calcium for your bones to work right, for your bones to be firm, so you could exercise without injuring yourself. Okay, so you could walk without injuring yourself. Okay, and low calcium intake. Okay, and that's a condition in which your bones become weak and brittle. That's osteoporosis. All right. So you need the right amount of calcium to prevent osteoporosis. All right. You need calcium intake. Do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and share the live. Make sure you guys share the live. Pass it on. Pass it on. Share the live. Show some love and pass the live. Share the live for me and for you and for those who need it. So, if you lack calcium, all right, there is strong evidence that you will develop osteoporosis. All right. So let's look at something. We talk about calcium. Now we're going to check out the nervous system, the neurological system. Okay, and the parts of it that are affected are dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, the cerebella, the ataxia, hypotonia, okay, and learning disorders, depression, migraine, headache, and developmental delay. Okay, good. And that's the part of the nervous system that are affected. All right. And development delay, includes like, learning disability, cerebral palsy, intellectual disability, and autism spectrum disorder. Okay, and the most common learning disorder is dyslexia, right? And dyslexia is responsible for 80 to 90% of all learning disorders. Dyslexia is responsible for 80 to 90% of all learning disorders. So we must know that, and we must remember that. So as celiac disease causes your digestive system to work less effectively, severe cases can sometimes lead to a critical lack of nutrients in your body. Just try and imagine that for a moment. If there's a critical lack of nutrients in your body, just try to run it through your mind like, wow, okay, my body needs certain nutrients for it to function right, for it to work properly. And if there is a critical lack of nutrients, just kind of imagine what could possibly happen to your body. Okay, in that process, you could actually end up being malnourished. You could end up being malnourished, which can result in your body being unable to function normally. So malnutrition, when you hear people say, oh, this person has malnutrition, that person has malnutrition, okay, your body just very well might be unable to function normally. All right, keep that in mind. Or recover from wounds and infections, stunted growth, eye problems, diabetes, and heart disease. All those things, all those happen to people with malnutrition, people who are malnourished. So you guys see the importance of health, the importance of good sleep, the importance of exercising, the importance of stress management. I cannot emphasize those four enough. I really can't. So, celiac disease affects each person differently. Yes, differently. Symptoms could occur in the digestive system or in other parts of the body. One person might have diarrhea and abdominal pain, while another person may be irritable, or depressed. All right? So each person can have different symptoms. So those symptoms aren't always the same for everyone across the board. All right? Hey, Brother Ed. How are you, sir? Good evening, Tina. Greetings, everyone. So it's not always easy to tell, like, since symptoms of celiac disease vary from person to person. Irritability is one of the most common symptoms in children with celiac disease. Irritability. So if your child is irritable and it's strange and you have no clue what's going on, that might be what's happening to your child. Okay? So it's one of the most common symptoms in children. And some people may not experience any symptoms at all. Okay? So because the symptoms may be mild, people with celiac often go undiagnosed for many years. And when symptoms do occur, they manifest in the form of fatigue, abdominal bloating and pain, diarrhea, pale, foul smelling or fatty stools. Sav lady, kaka santi, movie. All right? And weight loss. And then, on top of all of that, there is poor absorption of nutrients that include iron deficiency anemia, bone or joint pain, arthritis, weak and brittle bones, which is osteoporosis, or unexplained broken bones. Remember, I want you to remember that the body constantly absorbs and replaces bone tissue. You have to remember that. The body constantly absorbs and replaces bone tissue, okay? Some of the more common bone tissue include bone marrow. Those are pretty common ones, right? That we know of. There are like a whole bunch of them. So we got bone marrow, nerves, blood vessels, and cartilage. Those are the more common bone tissue that we know of, but there are like a bunch more. Okay, but with osteoporosis, new bone creation doesn't keep up with old bone removal. See, the balance is not there if there is osteoporosis present in the scheme of things. New bone creation does not keep up with the old bone removal, and that is a very problematic situation. It's problematic because the new bone formation is not keeping up with the old bone removal. Okay, also, there is tingling or numbness in the hands or the feet. Okay, missed menstrual periods, infertility or recurrent miscarriage, canker sores inside your mouth. All right. Everybody's good? Don't forget to share the live, guys. Pass it on. McPherson, what's going on, brother? All right. Friend, long time. Why do the bakeries mess with bread? Sharon, I don't know. I guess they're trying to make a living, you know? They're trying to make a living. But, there is, Sharon, and just to expound a little bit on your question, there is flourless bread, guys. It's more expensive than regular bread, but it's worth every single penny. Flourless bread, you ain't got to worry about gluten. Okay, so let's take a look at the list of foods containing lactose. It's a long list, but it's mainly foods that the system is dumping on our children. So, and us too, they dump it on us and hoping that we would, follow suit. But sometimes we inadvertently feed our children those foods without being conscious of being aware that, hey, this thing is loaded with lactose. And we really have to be more careful, all right? Otherwise, our children are going to be sick and they will remain sick for a long time. And we may not know what's going on because, again, the symptoms of celiac disease is different in everyone, right? So let's examine a few foods containing lactose. And Sharon, the number one on the list is bread. All right? You got bread, pancakes. What's going on, Lucille? I hope you guys are doing good, man. And I just want to let forth my disclaimer again, somewhere in the middle of the show, that I am not a doctor. I don't prescribe medication. I'm an herbalist, a holistic health educator, and a researcher. That's what I do, okay? My work is for educational and informational purposes. All right? So we have bread, pancakes, biscuits, cookies, and cakes. And those are just a few. Those are like the more common ones that we see every day when we go to the markets. Okay? Containing lactose. Processed foods, including breakfast cereals, instant potatoes, soups, margarine, salad dressings, flavored chips and other snack foods, processed meats, including bacon, sausage, hot dogs, lunch meats. And lactose just may also be in some other products like vitamins and supplements, hair and skin products, toothpastes and lip balm, postage stamps. When you go licking that postage stamp to put it on the letter, boom, you could possibly be licking on some lactose. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, this is a mixture of ginger, cinnamon, star anise, and some clove with honey. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. Vitamins and supplements, hair and skin products, toothpaste, and lip balm. When your lips dry, you got that lip balm going there for you. Postage stamps, communion wafers for my Catholic people, all my Catholic brothers and sisters. Those communion wafers loaded with lactose because the church refuses to use lactose-free communion wafers. Yeah? All right. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. It's public information. I'm not making this up. And for my ladies, be careful with lipstick. When you applying your lipstick, check it out. Lactose, boom, boom. And then you're wondering, wow, why, why is this happening to me, right? Dairy milk contains lactic acid, which is an alpha hydroxy acid ingredient that many modern skincare products include. Lactic acid in skincare products. And lactic acid is especially popular in anti-aging face cleansers. Lactic acid is especially popular in anti-aging face cleansers. Very high levels of lactic acid cause a serious, sometimes life-threatening condition called lactic acidosis. Lactic acidosis. So lactic acidosis can also occur in those who take metformin. And you guys know what the doctors prescribe metformin for, right? That's right. When you like to eat a lot of sugar and it gets out of control, you end up with diabetes. You end up with diabetes and they prescribe metformin to you. And very high levels of lactic acid causes a serious, sometimes life-threatening condition called lactic acidosis. And lactic acidosis, again, can also occur in those who take metformin to control diabetes when heart or kidney failure or a severe infection is also present. All right? You know, it's not funny, it's just that finding all this information and reading all this information and putting all this together for you, it brings me joy, man. Seriously, it brings me joy because all this information is out there. It's scattered all over the place. But you have to be able to gather all that information, make it cohesive enough so you can disseminate and make it make sense. But it's there. All right? And it's really a joy doing this. I love doing it because it allows me the space, it allows me the time, it allows me to be conscious of what's out there that you will not find until you go look for it. And when you find it, you have to know how to read between the lines. So, gluten is also in most toothpaste as a thickener. That's right. They use gluten in toothpaste to make it thick as a thickener, as well as a binder or a stabilizer, to stabilize it. Gluten ingredients, I want you guys to get this. The gluten ingredients in toothpaste include xanthan gum. That's Xanthan gum. When you see that ingredient in your toothpaste or on your food packaging, that is what it is. Xanthan gum. Xanthan. And they put that stuff in your toothpaste. They put it in your toothpaste. They hide it in plain sight. They put that junk in your toothpaste, man. So there are some trigger words that alert you to the reality that a product contains lactose. And here are just a few of them, just a few of them. Milk sugar, lactose. Whey, W-H-E-Y, lactose. Curds, lactose. Milk byproducts, lactose. Dry milk solids, lactose. Non-fat dry milk powder, lactose. And for those of us who grew up in the Caribbean in the 60s, 60s and the 70s, I don't think they had that in the 80s, but I could be wrong. But growing up back home, we used to get that non-fat dry milk powder called Klim. K-L-I-M, Klim, right? And that's just the word milk spelled backwards. And we used to have those big cans of Klim eaten with sugar sometimes, just sugar and Klim, right? And they used to load us up with that stuff. Right? Some of us on here remember that. What's going on, Ann? You guys remember Klim back home? Yep, that's just milk spelled backwards, and it's that non-fat dry powder milk they used to feed us, and it's just lactose. So, gluten intolerance can also affect your skin. That is right. It could affect your skin. A blistering skin condition called dermatitis herpetiformis. Dermatitis herpetiformis is one manifestation of celiac disease. Dermatitis herpetiformis is one manifestation of celiac disease. Okay? And it's can call it DH. And DH, listen well, DH is a chronic, intensely itchy, blistering skin manifestation of gluten-sensitive enteropathy, which is a disease of the intestinal tract. All right? Careful. Careful what you eat. Be careful what you ingest. Be careful what you put on your face. Be careful what you brush your teeth with. Be very careful. Take care of yourselves, man. Stay healthy. Do your best. Do the best that you can. So DH is found mainly in adults and is more common in men and people of Northern European descent. Okay, and from what they're saying and from what I found out is that DH is rarely found, very rarely found in melanated people and Asians. DH is rarely found in melanated people and Asians. So folks with DH may also experience dental enamel defects to permanent teeth, which is another manifestation of celiac disease. That's right. Oh, this tea is good. I'm going to have another cup once I'm done here. So thank you guys. I appreciate you joining me here. I'm not done yet. I am just thanking you for hanging with me. There is so much information out there. It's impossible to give you everything in one sitting. So go ahead and share the live. Pass it on to someone who really needs this, okay? So if you are lactose intolerant, make sure you get enough calcium and vitamin D every single day. If you are lactose intolerant, make sure you are getting adequate amounts of vitamin C, vitamin D rather, and calcium every single day. Because calcium plays an important role in muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and the release of hormones. Okay? Vitamin D is needed to mitigate bone loss. Okay? Vitamin D also is needed for cancer prevention and depression, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, weight loss. I said that already. Multiple sclerosis. Vitamin D is essential to mitigate the onset of these bad boys. Go out in the sun, man. Get some sunlight on your skin, 10, 15 minutes. That's all you need. And if you do it early to mid-morning, it's even better. That way, you know, you don't burn yourself up. You don't get sunburned, okay? Vitamin D also helps your body absorb and use that calcium that you need. All right? The vitamin D will help your body absorb and use the calcium. Without enough vitamin D, one cannot form enough of the hormone calcitriol, which is the active form of vitamin D. This in turn leads to insufficient calcium absorption from foods. So in this situation, your body must take calcium from storage in the skeleton, in your bones, which in turn will weaken existing bone and prevents the formation of strong new bone. You got to balance your food intake. You got to get enough vitamin D. You have to get enough vitamin C. And if you are lactose intolerant, it's really hard to get all that needed vitamin C. I'm sorry, calcium. Right? It's hard, but it's doable. I'm going to look at some of a few ways we can get vitamin calcium, not vitamin D, calcium. Okay? Okay, so check this out. So the intake of high levels of protein and sodium will increase calcium excretion through the kidneys. So you got to keep that sodium at a minimum and the animal flesh protein at a minimum at that point. Okay, because it will increase calcium excretion through the kidneys. You want to keep that calcium to prevent osteoporosis. So watch that animal protein intake and that high sodium foods that we like so much and we get addicted to. So for that reason, if you have low calcium intake, excessive amounts of proteins and sodium should be avoided. Excessive amounts of protein and calcium should be avoided because eating too much protein can worsen kidney problems. I'm talking about animal flesh protein. It could worsen kidney problems and over time can cause symptoms like bad breath, halitosis, right? Indigestion and dehydration. Certain sources of protein like meat, dairy, and processed foods can increase the risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease and cancer. So, you can flush the sodium and the excess protein from your kidneys. And how do you do that? What do you use to do it? You need potassium. Potassium. Word of caution, if you have kidney disease or kidney problems, you might want to stay away from high amounts of potassium. It will do you no good. The potassium is an electrolyte. It will flush the excess sodium from the kidneys. Okay, and for potassium, you could use ripe bananas, strawberries, leafy greens, melons, citrus fruits, except grapefruits if you have kidney disease. If you suffer from kidney disease, don't use grapefruits. Okay? You should not be using grapefruits if you have kidney disease. Grapefruits and potassium, very high levels of potassium. If you have to take potassium with kidney disease, keep it at a minimum. Okay, and all these are great sources of potassium, by the way. The other side to this is if you consume too little potassium and too much sodium, man, that can raise your blood pressure. Consuming too little potassium and too much sodium can raise your blood pressure. All right? So it's a balance. You got to balance everything when it comes to what you put in here, put in your mouth to go down in there. You got to balance it off. So people with lactose intolerance may be at particular increased risk of low vitamin D status and may also predispose some to low calcium intake. All right? Share the light for me, guys. I hope you guys are doing great. Everybody's well, okay? All right. So if you have lactose, if you suffer from lactose intolerance, okay, you may be at a particular increased risk of low vitamin D status. And you may be predisposed to some low calcium intake, which may lead to suboptimal bone health and possibly other consequences. Many foods that do not contain lactose that are also sources of calcium include fish with soft bones like salmon, sardines, right? Those fish with soft bones. You have broccoli, leafy green vegetables, oranges, almonds, Brazil nuts, and dry beans. Vegetables high in calcium include rhubarb, spinach, broccoli, and like kale, turnips, collard greens. Calcium, high in calcium, Brussels sprouts, mustard greens, Swiss chard. And for herbs, herbs with calcium, basil, basilic, tulsi, same thing. Uh, Marjoram, thyme, sage, rosemary, dill. Fruits with calcium, kiwi, oranges, berries, pineapples, papaya, figs. No, not bananas, figs. The fruit, figs. Celery seeds and other spice seeds, cinnamon. And there's one of my favorite herbs of all times, nettle, stinger nettle. Stinger nettle contains 428 milligrams of calcium per cup of cooked leaves. The younger leaves of the nettle plant, you cook 1 cup of that, you get 428 milligrams of calcium. Oh yeah, one of my all-time favorite herbs. And it doesn't just stop at calcium. Nettle will alleviate insomnia, osteoporosis, arthritis, adrenal depletion, skin conditions, indigestion, low iron, and even headaches. And is one of the best antihistamines on the planet. One of the best antihistamines on the planet is nettle. So I leave you with this, brothers and sisters. You know, it is up to you to make a conscious effort. Okay, up to you to make a conscious effort to remain healthy, to get healthy and maintain health, right? To maintain health. And for some of us, it may sound like it's easy, but it's really not. Because I know of some folks who actually got better, right, while battling with some illnesses, got better, and after they got better, guess what happened? They went right back to the bad habits that got them in that predicament in the first place. So I am not going to stay here and tell you it's easy. It is not easy to maintain good health. For some of us, it is. For most of us, it is not. So it's up to you if you want good health, because I want to be pain-free. I cannot avoid it, but I want to be as pain-free as possible, as disease-free as possible, as illness-free as possible. And the formula, I keep giving it to you guys. Exercise, stress management, good sleep, and great nutrition. That's it. Just 4 things. Right? Easy enough, right? But nah, not really. It sounds like it is, but not really. But you can do it. You can conquer it. You can do it. I've done it, you know. It took me a while, but I got there. And I intend on maintaining that. I'm not going to let it go because it's a treasure. It's a treasure, I tell you guys. It's one of those treasures that when you find, you like, I'm not letting this go. You know, when you find an awesome woman that you could have for your wife, you could make your wife, and you guys just live like really awesome. And same way on the other side, the opposite side. You know, you ladies, when you find that man, that dream guy that you've been looking for your entire life, right? You're not gonna let it go. Hey, man, finding good health is one of those feelings, man. And when you find it, you don't want to let it go because it's a treasure to behold. All right, I'll leave you guys. I'll see you next time. Don't forget, your health is your responsibility. All right? You guys take care of yourselves. Be good. Stay blessed.